habit, suddenly life opens up. And all the narrowness that the mind had imposed on it dissolves. And life becomes spacious because you found the space within. There's suddenly a spaciousness to life, and not a threatening place anymore. What's life going to do? Where's this next threat coming from? And again, the same thing.
8月13号8月20
There's an entire spiritual
对
teaching
8月
based on
13号跟
denying
8月
the
21号都拿
reality of
到
your
了。
story. And Byron Katie's teachings is based
8月
on
13号跟
the
8月
fact of
21号了。
denying your story. How do I know? Do I really know that this is true? No, I can't really know that.
8月13号8月21号
Same place where the Dalai Lama is? Don't know. So it's a wonderful thing. You can enter that not knowing, and then, but it's only not knowing from the viewpoint of the conceptual mind. You're actually connected with a deeper intelligence, unconditioned. And if you really need to know something, it comes. But it comes out of the spaciousness of not knowing. Well, it's a little bit like jumping off a cliff and then seeing if you can fly. To the ego, it's a little bit like that. The ego says, don't go there, because the ego has worked it all out. It explains the whole, it has its philosophy of life. It might be a very defective, limiting philosophy, but it's some kind of philosophy of life. Every person has their story through which they interpret reality. And usually it's not a pleasant one of fiction. But at least you think you know. It gives you some illusory foothold. And of course the ego thinks, if I let go of that, I won't know anything anymore. Which in a way is true, but not completely true. In a deeper sense, it's you only let go of a distortion of reality created by the conditioned mind, which is part of the collective human mind in its present state of evolution. And so the collective mind, of which your mind is part, has created this human-made world, which is full of problems, and they seem to be, they pop out one after another. When you think one thing is better, now say, oh God, now it's the economy, and it's that, and it's that. Another war.
What is ball? I don't even know that about I'm sorry, and as you know, the Buddhisms 我也做错过。Awaken the giant within. The giant.
Look at my long eyelashes. These are my own eyelashes, not fake eyelashes. The long eyelashes are really beautiful.
Are there any thought processes connected with the fear? In other words, what are the thoughts that your mind is producing while you're feeling the fear? Well, fear, anxiety, which is a form of fear, very common. Some people have it, many have it in the background continuously, and I would say there's some degree of fear, even if you're not conscious of it. If you're totally identified with the egoic mind, you will have fear, if only in the background, and it may come out in other forms. It can come expressed as well as anger. If you look at anger closely, you usually find hidden underneath the anger is a state of fear. So, if there's fear, one important thing is to, of course, you need to direct your attention to it. You acknowledge that there's fear. The important question that arises is, are there any thought processes connected with the fear? In other words, what are the thoughts that your mind is producing while you're feeling the fear? Is it possible that certain thoughts that you think frequently or habitually produce the fear? Is it possible that you project yourself into the next moment, into the future moment, excessively trying to control something that you have no control over? What's going to happen to me? Or creating an imaginary scenario of loss that you might suffer. It's not happening now, but it might happen. And many things that the thought activity, excessive thought activity, often creates scenarios of things going wrong that are not happening now, may never happen, often probably will never happen. And even if they did happen, the actual situation would actually be easier to face than the imaginary situation in your mind, because there's nothing you can do, there's no action you can take to remedy an imaginary situation except to stop thinking it. But if an actual situation arises, you face it and you give it your attention, and then you take the action that you need to take. But an imaginary situation, you're totally at the mercy of it. It only exists in your mind. So you need to see whether your mind is creating the fear by thinking fearful thoughts, by projecting itself into the future. And if that is the case, then you can see, oh, So I'm creating those because my body cannot tell the difference between an actual event that's happening outside and what my mind is producing. So when I'm thinking thoughts, my life situation is critical, if this is basically what your thoughts are telling you, then your body believes that this is the actual truth, that you are being threatened at this very moment. The body doesn't know the difference, that the tiger isn't in the room. The threatening presence is your thoughts. The body reacts in the same way, whether there's a threat, an actual threat in the room, or your thoughts can create the same, even palpitations. You can shortness of breath because you're thinking fearful thoughts. You go at night. I had that for years. To awful state. It's insane. It's a disease, but nothing is happening. Absolutely nothing. It's a quiet room. Nothing. It's all happening in the mind. So if that's the case, then you need to tackle the thoughts because they will cause the fear. And how do you tackle thoughts? It's by realizing the futility and the destructive nature of these thoughts and choosing to step out. And what do you do to step out? First, you don't believe your mind that tells you, no, you can't step out, you have to continue thinking. No, you step out and take a conscious breath, or put your attention into the inner energy field of the body, a conscious choice to remove attention from thinking. And you may have to be really alert to do it. If you are immersed in a mind stream, it could even be that it's so powerful that you just cannot get out. It has such gravitational pull, it pulls you. But at least you know that this is what's happening. So there's a state where you cannot help yourself yet, but at least there is the beginning of a disidentification from it, when you know that this is what is happening. Your health, your relationships, your work, or lack of it, finances, living situation, usually those things make up your life, my life. But I call that your life situation as opposed to life, which is only ever now. Your life situation exists in the mind. You have to keep it alive there. It's important, of course, you have to deal with situations as they arise in your life, but they only arise in the present moment. And when you think about your life situation, you can only think about it in the present moment. It's important to have these two, your life and your life situation, and not allow your life situation to completely obscure your life, your presence, your sense of aliveness, your spaciousness. And that's helpful to bring attention, to learn to bring attention to your senses. The expression we could use is come to your senses, the 5 senses, so you become more aware of what surrounds you. Inhabit the body. It's another one that connects you with life, takes you out of the conceptualizing mind. Be here now. Come to your senses. Inhabit the body. Be here now. All one. And then you don't carry continuously with you like a heavy burden your life situation. Of course, you address whatever challenges arrive, you deal with them as they arise in the present moment. Occasionally you might have to do some